Resolution number 6, 2022, introduced by Mayor Biassiata and Councilpersons Curriasis, Kelly, Elliott, Kuyu, Martin, Snitsky, and Delaquila. A resolution in support of the Ukrainian community in Seven Hills and citizens of Ukraine standing in solidarity. Whereas the people of Ukraine gained their independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, have built a democratic and pluralistic society, allowing for freedom of religion, speech, and fostering the growth of their rich culture by allowing them to take their rightful place on the world stage. And whereas on February 24, 2022, armed forces of the Russian Federation, under the direct orders of Vladimir Putin and in flagrant violation of international law, expanded without provocation their earlier invasion of Ukraine on a scale not seen since World War II, wantonly and savagely killing thousands, destroying civilian areas and infrastructure, and creating a humanitarian crisis of global proportions. And whereas the actions of the Russian Federation are forcing hundreds of thousands of civilians to flee under winter conditions, and the Russian armed forces are continuing to expand their war crimes despite condemnation and the demand of the international community that they immediately desist. And whereas the United States has condemned this unprovoked and unjustified attack and declared that it supports all actions taken by the Ukrainian military and all of those involved in defending Ukraine. And whereas the city of Seven Hills, Ohio, is home to numerous Ukrainian Americans who bring with them their identity, work ethic, and strengthen our diverse community. And many have come to the city of Seven Hills as immigrants over many decades, fleeing persecution variously by Tsarist Russia, the Soviet Union, and other repressive regimes. They have been welcomed with open arms to our city, and all the while have added to our economy, public service, and helped our city nourish into the wonderful city that it is now. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Seven Hills, Ohio, that the mayor and this council, on behalf of all the residents of the City of Seven Hills, do hereby stand in solidarity with our Ukrainian community and the brave citizens of Ukraine who are facing their darkest hour against the onslaught of the brutal armies of Russia. That the Clerk of Council is hereby directed to forward a true and accurate copy of this resolution to Oksana Markarova, the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. We recognize all those who are fighting for freedom and democracy in Ukraine and all of the casualties and sacrifices that are being made. We hold dear in our hearts the families that have taken up arms for this just cause and stand with Ukraine while an atrocity is being committed on its homeland. That it is found and determined that all formal actions of this council and any of its committees concerning and relating to the adoption of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were held in meetings open to the public in compliance with the law. That this resolution is hereby determined to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, and welfare of the city of Seven Hills, and for the further reason that this measure is necessary due to the expanding war on Ukraine, which is gravely impacting the well-being of our own Ukrainian community. Wherefore, this resolution shall take effect and be enforced immediately upon its adoption, otherwise from and after the earliest period allowed by law.
Is there a further motion?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that council approves the emergency clause in section 5 of the resolution.
Curia has a second. Roll call.
Delaquila.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Curriasis.
Yes.
Kuyu.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes. Is there a further motion?
Yes, Mr.
Now would
President.
be a good time for discussion, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there anybody from the Ukrainian community representation that would like to get up and make some comments?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, on behalf of the United Ukrainian Organizations of Ohio, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for your support and for recognizing what this is about. This is not about some small conflict 3,000 miles away or 8,000 miles away, or about Russia versus Ukraine. It's about a struggle between two different views of how we live our lives. I look at the names around here on your plates and I realize you hail from different parts of the globe. We have Latvian flags, Ukrainian flags, we have Middle Eastern representative. We come from different parts of the world originally. We worship in different ways. We undoubtedly have different sports teams we like. But we are united in some ways. We all demand and enjoy the liberties of expression, of association, of religion. We can pursue our life in liberty here, and we assume that's the way things should be. Well, let me put this in context for you. Less than 3 weeks ago on a Thursday, imagine if it was here in Seven Hills. You're waking up at 4 a.m. on Thursday. Rockets are flying in, shells. They're hitting your homes, your schools, your hospitals, your houses of worship. They're coming in, indiscriminately coming in. And after a while, they drive out your law enforcement and the armed forces, and the army marches in. And they come and they break into your homes. They take what they want. They take your food, threaten your family, assault your family members. You want to leave. If they're in a good mood, you might leave through a checkpoint. If they're in a bad mood, they shoot you. Okay? And the very next day, they come to this council and they grab you, Mr. Mayor, put a bag in your head and say, you're treasonous. You're a traitor. We're going to charge you and haul you off somewhere. If anybody objects, they haul you off as well. And I'm sure the good citizens of Seven Hills would come and protest outside, the way they do in Ukraine, and say, give us back our mayor. And out come the soldiers. If they're in a good mood, they shoot over the heads of the protesters. If they're in a bad mood, they shoot lower. And they begin the arrests. Over 400 people that we know about, mayors, councilmen, activists have gone missing already. We don't know where they are, whether we'll see them again. And the very next day, the new mayor is installed by the Russians, unelected, and says to everybody, you know what? You've got things wrong. You read the wrong papers. You look at the wrong media. We're going to fix things. We're turning off the internet and give you 1 or 2 channels from Moscow. You've got to get with the program here. That's how it's going to be. And your language, your worship, how you think will be managed for you, because we know better, basically. And that's the curtain of lies, coercion, and violence that's descent on in Ukraine. And you're right, Mr. Mayor, to realize this will not end at the border of Ukraine and Poland. When the last soldier of Ukraine falls, Mr. Putin has to keep moving, because his system cannot coexist with a system of freedom, a system of liberty. Just by existing, we're a challenge to him. He can't become like us, so he wants to divide us and weaken us. And we can't let that happen. And so I thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thank members of the City Council. And I have to remark on the monument to the veterans here in front. We ought to remark to make a thanks to all the active servicemen of Seven Hills and the veterans, because it reminds us today, if it weren't for them, we wouldn't be meeting here today in freedom and talking openly with each other. We wouldn't be doing that. So again, thanks to all of you. We're very grateful for what you're doing. This is not about a small conflict, it's about the way we live. So let me just say, God bless Seven Hills, God bless America, and God bless Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm going to ask for comments from city council members. Councilman Kuyu.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope that God watches over your people, not only all people, but your people in the conflict that's going on right now. And if any of you have family members over there, I hope that he safeguards them and keeps everybody safe.
Thank you, Councilman Kuyu. Councilman Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. President. We not only stand with you, we pray with you. And it's heartbreaking to watch the news, and you're not sure what to believe, but we know deep down what's going on over there. And I think we're going to prevail, and we're going to prevail with you. I thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Councilman Elliott. Councilman Delaquila.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, the people of Ukraine have always held a strong sense of culture, national identity, and a desire for freedom. The Russian invaders are trying again to destroy that proud culture. We've all been shocked by the nightly news images of the horrors being inflicted on Ukraine by the invading Russian hordes. Burning buildings, wounded and deceased civilians, including women and children, long lines of suffering refugees attempting to flee to safety, a 40-mile-long column of treacherous military machinery and merciless invaders sent to destroy innocent people. Innocent, but also unyielding in their desire to remain free, determined to defend their own land despite the odds, never bowing to a foreign invader. One cannot help but to admire these great people and to support their fight for freedom. How Ukrainians have suffered through history. Without going through the detail, we all remember World War II from our history books. We know what happened when Stalin was in control. We know what happened in the year 2014 when the Russians took away land that rightfully belongs to Ukraine. And we know what happened in February of 2022. The images we see each night on television are unbearable. We look into the faces of adults and their children whose lives have been torn apart as they desperately seek to survive. But we must not turn away as much as we are tempted to do so, no matter how terrible these images are. Instead, they must be our inspiration and our motivation to do something about this brutal slaughter. We have a moral duty to find every way that we can to assist the Ukrainian people. Each of us can find some time or a few dollars for these heroic people. Also, our national leaders must be urged to provide as much material assistance as possible to the Ukrainian defenders. We must adopt new immigration policies for everyone seeking to flee this devastation and who wish to come here. We are witnessing the worst of humanity, the repeat of a sickening history we all believed was over in the last century. Nonetheless, we must resist the temptation to turn away in horror, because therein lies defeat. Remain aware, stay involved, seek out ways to help these innocent people. How can we morally do anything less while these atrocities are being committed against innocents who only want to live free and build a better life for their families? Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Delacour. Council Pro Tem Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. My prayers for peace and strength go out to the Ukrainian people, both near and far. May God wrap his loving, healing hands around the Ukrainian people to help them to persevere, stay strong, and stay safe. Thank you all for being here this evening.
Thank you, Council Pro Tem Kelly. Councilman Martin.
Thank you, Council President. I join with the others to call for an end to this war. I hope that peace, human rights, and international law has to prevail. Sorry. I'm sorry, one more. With a nod to my Irish mother, who passed away many years ago. Today, I am Ukrainian. And the best of luck to all.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Councilman Snitsky.
I don't know how I can follow any of that. I personal observations, though. My great-grandmother and great-grandfather left Poland to get away from the Russians. My father-in-law's father left Poland to keep from being forcibly conscripted into the Russian army. We got to stop these because it's just going to keep on going. This is nothing different. This is nothing different than has been going on for a millennium as far as Russian Empire is concerned. Put whatever name you want on it, communism, Tsarism, Putinism. It's Hitlerism all over again, and you got to stop them at the front end, because if not, you'll be stopping them at the back end. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Snitsky. Today, we stand united with our Seven Hills and Northeast Ohio Ukrainian residents. There are many Ukrainian residents in Seven Hills and Northeast Ohio that have family and friends living in Ukraine, and we are praying for their safety and peaceful conclusion to this current situation. Pray for Ukraine. May God bless its brave President Zelensky and brave citizens. Slava Ukraine.
Slava Ukraine.
Law Director Pignatello.
Thank you. Every morning I get up and first thing I do is turn on the news and I watch the horror and the atrocity that are being put upon you people. And I think how lucky we are here in the United States, and that we should do everything we can to help you. We stand with you and we wish you the best and keep you in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Law Director Pignatello. Mayor Biassiata.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you all for coming to Seven Hills. I'll say this a few times and then we'll get moving on. Solidarity is the important thing. Solidarity, prayer, hope. Those of you that I've been with you since the start of this. It's been a few weeks now. We were at St. Andrew's Ukrainian Catholic Church. I was there with the governor. I was touched in ways I didn't expect. And it's been an emotional roller coaster, and I'm not getting off that roller coaster until we stand victorious. Later that day, I was not inside, but I was on the steps at St. Vladimir. Next week, I was at St. Joseph's. Last week, I was on the steps of Parma City Hall. Gave a very emotional speech, and I stand by every single one of those words. Today, a little less emotional, but every bit of my conviction is still there. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon, and it's a lifelong marathon. No one here knows better than you in front of me that this is not the first time the Ukraine's been invaded, not the first time that the people of Ukraine have stood up very bravely to monstrous armies and individuals who wanted to conquer their people and destroy their families and take away their liberty. And every time throughout history, the people of Ukraine have rose to that challenge, sometimes alone, sometimes with allies. But I am here to tell you today that you will not be alone, that the people of Seven Hills are with you, the people of Ohio are with you, the people of different nationalities, like I said, outside. The world is united. We have people here from the Middle East, the people here from Italian and Polish and Slovenian backgrounds and Hungarian. And we have Yingpo here from the Asian community. We are all united on the side of good. And that's not going to change until this is resolved and the people are brought to justice. So today and every day, my heart's actions and prayers are with you. And I want to inspire people, the people on the dais, the people in the crowd, and everybody we talk to from this point forward to shelters. There's no fact, even if it's an encouraging word, and the power is so. In a couple days, I and other leaders are going to be meeting with the governor at St. Vladimir's in Parma to have a summit to how we can prepare to start to bring refugees and aid in that crisis. So no matter where you may stand politically, there's a way for you to fit in. Obligation here to stand up, speak any way that we can to the people of Ukraine are free. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Mayor Biassiata. Do we have a further motion?
Yes, Mr. President, at this time, I wish to move council to adopt resolution number 6-2022 as an emergency measure.
Curriass, second. Roll call?
Delacuilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriass.
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Resolution number 6-2022 has been adopted. Okay, the singers are going to sing one more song.
May I just say a quick word for all of you today?
Okay,
So this song is called Ой у лузі червона калина, and it is a very special song for a number of reasons. It's an uplifting, patriotic march of the Legion of the Ukrainian Sich Riflemen, written in 1914 in memory of the riflemen. At that time, they were also fighting off the Russian Empire's advances. So I think we can all connect with the song. It's meant to uplift everyone in this march, and we ask everyone who knows the song to join us. Thank you.
Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася, що ось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей розвеселимо, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей розвеселимо. Марширують наші добровольці у кривавий тан, визволяти братів українців з московських кайдан. А ми наших братів українців визволимо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей розвеселимо. А ми наших братів українців визволимо, нашу славну Україну гей розвеселимо. Ой, у полі ярої пшениці золотистий лан, розпочали стрільці українці з москалями там. А ми тую ярою пшеницю і зберемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей розвеселимо. А ми тую ярою пшеницю і зберемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей розвеселимо. Як повіє буйнесенький вітер широких степів, то прославить по всій Україні січових стрільців. А ми тую стрілецькою славу збережемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей розвеселимо. А ми тую стрілецькою славу збережемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей розвеселимо.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.